Okay, so I did receive an email from somebody who I listened to the shir, part 1, and he says to me, what about the little bells on the Sefer Torah? You know, sometimes you have a Sefer Torah that has either a keser, a beautiful crown, a silver crown, or on that Zechaim, and sometimes they have these little silver bells on the Sefer Torah. What's the heter for that? That's a musical instrument. What's the heter to move around with that, right? So, you know, the mice of this week's parashas, we have all these parashas of the Kohen Gadol and the Avodah Space Hamikdash and everything, and the mice, it's interesting because the inyan was, and that was the whole inyan of the various begodim that the Kohen were made, was that specifically that you should hear that he comes in, the inyan of hearing the noise. So Rav Vosna and Shevet HaLevi actually has a tshuva specifically about this in Chelik Aleph Siman Samach Aleph, and he writes that there is no problem with carrying a Sefer Torah with those bells. Someone at Tainal's covered a Torah, it's good for people to hear the Sefer Torahs moving around because you want people to stand up. But he says, Pasha Pshat, you don't generally hear them. You don't generally hear them jingling away when you carry this Sefer Torah. I mean, if you do, that's definitely not the kavanah of someone with that case. It's generally done not for the noise. When you make those bells, it's not for the noise, it's for the beautification. And therefore, if it happens to make a noise, that's not really the inyan, and therefore that will be okay. Agav, the Mishnah Berurah, by the way, in Shin Amud Ches, goes through the inyan of a bell that's attached to a door. You know, for example, you can have fridges that have like a magnet stuck onto it, and every time you open it, you know, you hear a noise, right? It's great when there are kids in the house and you want to find out how they open and close the fridge, right? Every time you go, close the fridge! You know, that famous saying that people had running around during the corona times, during quarantine. You're not hungry, you're just bored, right? Stop opening the fridge. People open the fridge just to, can't seem to find anything. That's interesting, and that's how it is. So you have one of those bells, so that will be awesome. Mishnah Berurah paskins that if you, for example, they have front doors that have them. They have kitchen doors. Every time you open them, you know, boom, you hear a noise, a jingle, whatever it is, little bell things that knock together. That, says the Mishnah Berurah, is problematic, even though, and the Mishnah Berurah is very clear about this, it's not a kol shel shei where there's a musical sound going on. There's like a song being sung. No. There's no musical rhythm, there's no beat. But at the end of the day, since that is something that's miyuchad for the noise, for the music, so that will be fine. That will be okay. That should be taken off. That should be lachatchila removed from the door on Erev Shabbos, because again, it's something that's miyuchad for a noise, and anything that's miyuchad for a noise, we said yesterday, even though you're not doing it derech sheh, is automatically going to be problematic. Okay, so that is the inyan over there. Let's move on a bissel to see a little bit weiter. Another interesting shaila is, what about a rattle for a baby, right? For example, let's say you got a baby on the floor, and the baby's crying, and the baby is moaning, whatever it is. You give the baby a rattle, so the baby all of a sudden gets, fine, okay, a rattle or some kind of other noise-making machine or something similar to that. And the answer is no. It's lechatchila not allowed to be given. Why? These things are muktzah. A rattle or anything that's miyuchat for making noise is considered to be muktzah. Why? Because it fits into Shin Amud Ches, the halacha of Hashmoas Kol, which means it's miyuchat of making noise, and therefore it cannot be done. Even though when you shake the rattle, you're not making a musical sound, you're not making a rhythm or a beat or a song. But again, it's a kol shel sheh, right? As from Gemara said yesterday, the machlokas of whether it's a door knocker or whether it's a stender would be mutter, door knocker obviously would be asa, because it's miyuchad to make noise, and there's a pasuk in the Ramah why you cannot use a door knocker on Shabbos is for that reason. So therefore a rattle will be asa. However, if a child needs it, so obviously any tzorich of a child, most of us are familiar with the halacha in Siman Shin Mem Beis that goes to the sugya of children and ktanim and giving things to children. Gemara Yevamos Kuf Yud Beis that talks about the halacha Sfiyah B'Yadayim, giving things to children. So obviously if the child picks it up himself, there's no problem. But if the child needs it, the child is crying, moaning, and would be upset without it, and by giving it to the child you calm down the child, then that would be mutter. It's muktzah. It's no worse than a klisha malachta leissa l'tzorich gufay, that I need it, or even you could tie it tzorich makom, I need it somewhere else, whatever it may be. And therefore, if the child is crying a lot, and to give this to the child, that would definitely be mutter. Maybe it would be better to sort of, with your foot, shove it over, or with your elbow, if you can. But if you don't need to, then if you cannot do that, then that is fine. Okay, so again, the yisoid is that a kli that's miyuchad for making a noise is muktzah, and it's also to make that noise even if you're not making a rhythm or you're making a beat. Now, let's move on. Agav, when we mentioned yesterday the shaila of the Belza Banga, so I didn't get a chance. I wanted to speak to one of the Belza Dayanim. In fact, I remember when I was being Menachem Oval by the Almona of of one of the victims of the Meron tragedy. So, Moshe Bergman from Manchester. So they were saying by the Shiva that he was learning this sugya of Hashmoas Kol not long before he was nifta. And he was an ish emes. He was a mamash. He was a man that searched after the truth. I don't know if any of you saw the emails that he was sending me, for months and months and months already before, with all different shilas. And he wanted to know what's the emes. So when he learned something, he didn't just learn whatever it says. He wanted to find out. So they told the almona, his father, mother, they told me by the shiva. They said, he heard the shayla of the bells of Banga. So what did he do? Friday night, he went to daven in bells. So I need to see it for myself. I need to see exactly what it is. I need to understand it in order to know what the halach is. I don't know how he came out. I don't know, but it's so beautiful. He wanted to know the halacha. He learned the shaila. I'm going to go to Bells. I'm going to see what is this Bells a cushion with the spoon. Mistama, it's a beautiful gold plaque. Nishma someone. Mistama, right? That's how it's normally done, right? I don't know exactly what it came out, but I would assume that the heter is number one. It's the tzorech mitzvah. There's a Gemara Megillah, famously Gemara Megillah, where they used to, such a big shul. There were so many people davening over there. They didn't even know when they said Kaddish or Baruch Hu or any of the brachas. So there was someone with a flag who used to lift up the flag every single time to tell everybody what to do. Shaila, it's not negated to us right now. I'm answering on main on a bracha that you didn't hear, but that's not negated to us. But there could be that such a big shul, so many people over there, they don't hear anything, and you want to make sure everyone understands when you make the bracha or baruch or whatever it is that they're signaling to, and therefore that will be done. Number one, it will be a tzarech mitzvah. Number two, also, it's definitely not something that's generally made. It's made to make a noise, but not made to make a kol shel shir. It's not made to make a musical sound, and it's for sure not being done to a beat. So all of these are taken together with yesterday's heter of clapping of the tzarech mitzvah, the minchas elazar, and the tshuva of Rav Hai Goin, and the Yamshel Shloima. Then mistama there's a mokim to make, and that's probably what they're saying. But I didn't speak to the Belzer Dayan myself to ask him exactly which heter they're saying. But I'm assuming it's something along those lines, which makes sense. There's a mokim to be made in that case. Let's move on, Rabbi Say. The Mishnah, Beit Salamad Vov, talks about this. Snapping fingers, right? Anyone's familiar with the Mishnayos in Masechtas Yuma? If you ever zoicha to learn on Yom Kippurim, the Mishnayos of Yuma, or those of you that are doing Daf Yomi, even better. So, therefore, you will know that there's an inyan of snapping fingers in front of the Kohen Gadol to make sure he's awake and stays awake during the Avodah the night before, whatever it may be. So the Mishnah paskins that you're not allowed to snap your fingers on Shabbos Kodesh. Shulchan Aruch brings this in Siv Gimel. Very interesting. It's actually in Shin Lamed Tes, but Al Koponim, as I state, one of the first ones is actually what we said yesterday, by the way. Shin Lamed Tes Siv Gimel. Ein metapachin l'kachakos kaf al kaf. Before halacha you can't clap, and then he talks about snapping the fingers. Right, all of these things basically go into this inyan over here, and that's where the Ramah tells us that people do it. That's what it is. The Mishnah Berurah brings down a Tosfos Shabbos and Pri Megadim that a machme even stam. That means just Rabbi Say, listen to the Shem. Mishnah Berurah brings a Pri Megadim that holds that salsa. The Maisai discussed it by Riches Hagoyin Rabbi Yisrael Orbach Shlita and Rafal Zatzel. And they both told me that snapping your fingers stam is fine. If you're snapping your fingers to a beat, to a rhythm, to a song, then I hear. Because then it fits into the gzeira that you might show me attack and shit. But if that's not happening and you just, what I say, get with the program, then it's okay. That is no problem whatsoever to do that. There are those who are machmer over there, that I would say for sure. But Lamaisa, Kach Omali, Hagoin Rabbi Yisrael Orbach, and Rafalk, both of them said that snapping your fingers stam is okay. Another halacha which again fits into this, and that's drumming on the table. Same shaila. Drumming on the table is basically the same shaila as clapping, same shaila as snapping your fingers, which again we could fit into number one. If it's been done stam, with no beat, no rhythm, no song, of course it's mutter. If it's been done to a beat, to a rhythm, to a zmiris, that could be mumachme, with the exception of what we said yesterday by clapping, the three heterim that we could definitely use for drumming, especially if it's done tzorech mitzvah, it's done for geshmak, it's done for a situation, for a matzav, that's for sure mokin to be mekel. Another halacha Rabbi Say is dancing. What about dancing on Shabbos? So the Mishnah, again, Beit Daf Lamed, tells us ein meraktin. Right? Not only is it a Mishnah, it's a Shulchan Aruch in the beginning of Siman Shin Lamed Tes, Mefurush, the halacha is in Siv Gimel, V'loi meraktim. Why can't you dance? Very interesting. Gzeira Shema Yisakin Cliche. Unbelievable. A guy's dancing, and he gets so orangutan, so geshma involved in the dancing. I need to fix the guitar. I need to fix my violin. I need to fix my clarinet. Right? That's very important. In the middle of the dance, that's what happens. I, says the Ramah, people do it. People do it. Anyone made a machar? You ever saw a protest going on in the middle of a shul where guys start dancing in the middle of Lachadoidi? Lo ve'inu, lo shamanu. Mishum demutav shishogim va'alidim ezidin. And then the Ramah brings, everything's mutter nowadays. The ein onu bekim b'asiyas klisheh. That's what Tosfos said yesterday. V'lekel amigzah shemi attacking klisheh. It's not shchiach. Ve'efsha, says the Ramah, sha'al zeh nagu lahakol bakol. That's the reason why people are makel in everything, including clapping, including snapping fingers, including drumming on the table, including dancing. Why? Because of this Ramah. We mentioned it yesterday, but I just wanted to mention it inside Shin Lamed Tested Gimel. The Ramah says people are makel because of Tosfos. We don't know how to fix guitars and we don't know how to fix drums. If something happens to our guitar, what do? We take it to a professional guy in a store. We don't fix it ourselves. And that's basically what Tosfos told us over here. Now the question is a couple of things. Number one, the Aruch HaShulchan once again talks about dancing. He says our dancing is not included, and the reason that is because it's not together with music, and therefore he tainas that there is no problem whatsoever, and therefore it has no shaychus to Shemitah and Klisheh, because the only singing we do on Shabbos is with our mouths, and therefore dancing is mutter. So according to Aruch HaShulchan, the whole thing is mutter. According to many Gedolei Poskim, including the Magen Avraham, that brings a Tshuvas Marik, that says for Simchas Torah it's mutter to dance because it's l'koved at Torah, and therefore any other mitzvah, like a Shabbat Brachas, like a Bar Mitzvah, or something similar to that, Kiruv, you're doing Kiruv for example, right? Somebody called me from South Africa, he's doing a Kiruv Shabbaton for the Olim over there, can they do this? And the answer is yes. For Kiruv and all these things, it's a mitzvah, there's absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. And Rafal Zatzal once told me that if dancing will enhance the Shabbos, or the Suda, or the Matzav, then of course that's called the Tzorich Mitzvah. The minig is to be made. I remember that I was once sitting by Rafal Zatzal when he used to come to Eretz Yisrael. So I had discussed of sitting with him many hours. And one of the times I was sitting with him, a very choshev yid, Moshe Yadla. Moshe Yadla is a machaber, a ger chassid, one of the big poskim in ger, and he wrote a beautiful sefer called Ma'or Shabbos. Beautiful, 4 or 5 halakim, unbelievable. So I have it in my house, beautiful. So he came to ask Rafal, what's the din with dancing? Because in ger they dance, and that was the shaila. So Rafal said to him, tell me, what does that mean dancing? Show me. So he got up and he started dancing a whole matziv. He said, that's not called dancing, that's called walking. Meaning like this, certain times we call it dancing, it's not dancing, right? What we do in yeshiva is going around the bima, that's not dancing, you're walking around. You may be walking a bit faster than walking, you may be walking slightly different direction, right? But it's the same idea. The Yerushalmi says this in Mufurish. The Yerushalmi says dancing means like, you're up in the air, you know what I'm talking about, a chasana, that's a dance. Stam around the bima, it's not a dance, that's called walking fast. Therefore, there is no problem with that sort of other, you should know. Agav, the Sfardim, Amumachme, says Rav Avadia, Sfardim don't have the heter of the Ramah. We had a heter of the Ramah a minute ago that we said, Mutter Shishoy Gevara de Bezidim, everyone does it, no, we have Toysos, whatever. Zuk Rav Avadia Zatzal, the Maisa, we don't have a Ramah. So Sfardim, he said, actually have to be more machmeh unless they're not going to listen to you, or unless obviously it's a real tzorich mitzvah, then there's a mokim to be makel. Let's finish off Rabbi said today, one last sugya, and that is the sugya of an alarm clock. Right? One of the inyanim we mentioned of Hashmoas Kol is having noise in your house. Right, so we're not going to go to every inyan, but the basic hagdara I will tell you, Mincha Shlomo Zalman says that any noise that you can hear on the outside is automatically going to be asa. So theoretically, if they were able to hear the washing machine outside your house, then it would be asa to have the washing machine after Shkia, even though you started it before, because people hear it on the outside and they may assume that it goes on. Right, and that you put it on Shabbos. And it's an Xera Shema, someone will hear and assume you put it on Shabbos. That's the halacha with all noise-making machines. One particular thing I want to mention, because I think this is very choshev, and that is an alarm clock. Are you allowed to set an alarm clock, obviously Erev Shabbos, to wake you up on Shabbos morning, early morning learning, early morning davening, mikvah? Are you allowed to do that? About this, a mitzvah, beautiful. When I wake up for davening, Kriyas Shema, Sosman, Tefillah, beautiful, gavaldik, learning before davening, mayodik, right? The item knows the mice, I always say over. One of my chavusas used to be the chavus of Tzimaya on Shabbos morning. They used to learn together every Shabbos morning. So he told me that his job was to wake up with Tzimaya every Shabbos morning at around 3:30, 3:45. Right? A pretty normal time to wake up on a Shabbos morning. And he didn't want to wake up his wife, so he tied, this is a mice show because my chavusa was his chavusa. He tied a gartel around him, went to bed and put the other side of the gartel outside the window. So my chavus used to come to the house, the string was there, and he was used to pull it, and this was to wake up with Tzimaya in the morning, right? Not that he needed waking up, but he only went to bed probably 20 minutes before that, so he needed reawakening, whatever it was. That's used to wake him up. So the shayla is, are you allowed to set an alarm clock before Shabbos in order for something to for it to wake you up. So it's interesting, we're actually going to move all the way down over here to Rishon Beis. In Rishon Beis, the Shulchan Aruch over here in Siv Hey talks about this shaila, and it's nageh be'etzem it's v'achayis b'shama b'sel in the Gemara in Shabbos Yitches. But akoponim, just to give you a little bit of the background over here, that any issa, any noise-making item is be'etzem a problem, because people will assume that, like I said, that you're going to be doing it on Shabbos as well, right? So one of the examples the Shulchan Aruch brings us is a mill that runs on Shabbos, which makes a noise and it works, and people are going to assume they're on Shabbos. Now, if someone hears an alarm clock, what's the din? What's the din of alarm clock? Right? What's the din? Any machine, but specifically alarm clock. So Reb Moshe, the Heilige Reb Moshe, God Lador, has a beautiful tshuva. You look this up in Orach Chaim Chelik Dalet, Siman Ayin, Ois Vov. Look it up. It's on the page. It's open right over there. You can see it Gavaldik. He writes Mefurish like this. If they're going to hear you only in your room, if the alarm clock only sounds in your room, then it's mutter. But if they can hear it outside your room, Reb Moshe paskins that it's also. Which means Reb Moshe holds that if an alarm clock is a loud one and it's heard outside the room, even though it's set before Shabbos, Reb Moshe paskins that it is asa, and the reason for that is because of Hashmoas Kol. That means if you have an alarm clock that's loud, that people outside your bedroom hear it, it was asa, according to Reb Moshe, to set that alarm clock before Shabbos, because of Hashmoas Kol. I will tell you on the other side of the fence, Reb Shlomo Zalman, for example, the Chazon Ish, the Marshag Be'etzem, the Leket Yosher, Chacham Ovadia, and Yalkut Yosef held that it's mutter. If you obviously said it before Shabbos, it's mutter. Why? Because they say that an alarm clock is something that's so obvious to people that you said it before. Nobody sets it before they wake up. You ever met a guy that went to sleep, doesn't set the alarm, he has to wake up at 7 o'clock. At 5 to 7, he says, ooh, I got to wake up at 7 o'clock. Set my alarm. No, 7 o'clock. Goes back to sleep for 5 minutes. I'm not talking about snooze. I'm talking about someone who sets it lechatchila that way. You ever met such a person? and you said it before you go to sleep. Therefore, say the poskim, most poskim, Moshe doesn't hold this way, but most poskim hold something that's normally set before Shabbos, then it's going to be okay without any problem whatsoever, because that's a normal thing, and therefore we don't have to be choishish. And by the way, who had din with any noise machine that's normal to be set before Shabbos? One of the famous ones is obviously, lights are not a noise machine, but it's an idea that even with Moshe's maskim using time clocks, because it's not something choishish that someone put on. Air conditioning, for example, very nageya. You walk past someone's apartment, someone's house, and outside the house you've got those boxes, and it's going around, and all of a sudden you're walking to shul and boom, it goes on. The guy just put on the air conditioning. No, that's such a normal thing that people use timers for, even though it makes a noise, we're not worried about that. What would Reb Moshe hold about that? We know what Reb Moshe will hold about that, so we don't have to ask the kasha, right? If Reb Moshe is machma on alarm clock, then kol shekeh is machma and everything else. But I'll just to know that most places can hold something that's a normal thing to set, and to set before Shabbos, then we're not choishesh, but otherwise from that, if it's only heard inside the room, then it's okay. Happy, wonderful, and gavaldik good day.